excited for Shedeur and really looking forward to seeing what he might do at the NFL level. My expectation is that he's going to have a hell of a career.
Troy Aikman saying what instantly flipped the script, and Shedeur Sanders critics will not like it. When a Hall of Famer speaks, the NFL listens, and Aikman just delivered a take-shaking Cleveland right now. This was not routine analyst hype or casual praise for a rookie prospect. This was one of the most respected quarterbacks in league history, planting a flag early and standing on it. Long before the chaos of the 2025 NFL Draft, Aikman told TMZ Sports something that landed heavy. He said Shedeur Sanders was a franchise quarterback, praised the command of his game, and made it clear the evaluation came from years of watching development, not highlights.
They're not going to give up on him too quickly. And that would probably open up a can of worms for them if they start throwing Shedeur in there, even in spot duty right now. So I'm not really feeling that or really seeing it. But I will say this. In practice, Shedeur Sanders has been making a ton of progress. He looks really good. I've been saying this over and over again. If you put Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel side by side or one after the other in a 7-on-7 red zone drill, I think
he projected a long, impactful NFL career and spoke with the confidence of someone who has seen greatness up close. At the time, the comments sounded optimistic but harmless. Months later, they feel prophetic. When Shedeur Sanders shockingly slid all the way to the 5th round, that earlier statement aged like gold. Scouts who labeled him too flashy, too confident, or too marketable are now forced to revisit those evaluations. Meanwhile, Joe Flacco opening as QB1 in Cleveland only sharpened the contrast. Aikman's belief now looks less like opinion and more like foresight. Aikman was not just grading arm talent or box score production. The praise centered on poise, leadership, command under pressure, and the unteachable edge that separates starters from true cornerstones. That is the franchise quarterback DNA evaluators chase but rarely identify correctly. Even as criticism piled up and draft night unfolded painfully, Aikman never wavered, the stance stayed firm, and the conviction stayed loud. That is what makes the draft night slide even more wild.
What have you seen out of Shedeur Sanders? Do you like his game? Do you think he is a franchise quarterback? What do you make of Shedeur, Troy?
I do think he's a franchise quarterback. I love his game. I've obviously been watching him for a number of years. I know his father intimately well and wish him the best, of course, as well. So what Shedeur's been able to do has been remarkable.
Shedeur Sanders was not supposed to sit through hours of selections. He was not supposed to watch over 160 names get called first. Colorado was supposed to be the launch pad, not the detour. Yet here the league stands, forced to reconcile missed evaluations with a Hall of Famer's unwavering confidence. Pressure mounts as Cleveland reevaluates everything after Aikman's bold endorsement. Surgical, steady, and straight-up elite, the numbers tell a ruthless story. A 74% completion rate, over 14,000 passing yards, 134 touchdowns, and 0 missed starts across 50 straight games. That is not just consistency. That is legendary college-level production by any modern standard. Shedeur Sanders became the engine of Colorado's rebirth, the centerpiece of a program transformed from background noise into must-see television. Under the guidance of his father, Deion Sanders, Boulder turned into a full-scale spectacle. Bright lights, non-stop cameras, confidence dripping from every snap, and wins that forced the sport to pay attention. Then draft weekend arrived, and the energy shifted in a way nobody could explain. Pick after pick rolled by in uncomfortable silence. Teams rushed to select Cam Ward and Jaden Daniels, prospects with less experience and nowhere near the same composure. Meanwhile, Sanders remained on the board, untouched, unannounced, and increasingly ignored. By the time Cleveland finally made the call in the 5th round, the moment felt less like celebration and more like confusion. What should have been a crowning achievement turned into a mystery that rattled analysts and insiders alike. A quarterback with that resume, that accuracy, and that leadership slipping so far made no football sense. That is when the earlier words from Troy Aikman started echoing louder than ever. Franchise quarterback was the label delivered long before draft narratives twisted the conversation. Now, as Sanders grinds for respect inside a crowded Cleveland quarterback room, that prediction feels less bold and more inevitable. Most rookie quarterbacks enter the league with one advantage Sanders never had: anonymity. A quiet runway to develop, struggle, and improve without every rep becoming a headline. Sanders never received that luxury. His spotlight has been blinding since the first collegiate snap. Even Aikman acknowledged it openly, explaining that the absence of anonymity robbed Sanders of the chance to simply work, refine, and emerge on his own timeline. At just 23, carrying the Sanders name guarantees non-stop scrutiny. Every throw, gesture, and quote becomes amplified. When success followed him at Jackson State, it was dismissed as nepotism. When dominance followed him to Colorado, it was brushed off as hype. Pressure keeps rising as league finally watches him silence doubters. Every yard thrown, every win earned, every loss absorbed was dissected like a science project under stadium lights. Nothing slipped past the microscope. Through all of it, Shedeur Sanders never folded. Pressure arrived weekly and the response stayed the same. Consistent mechanics, calm decisions, relentless preparation. The noise never slowed production, and the expectations never bent performance. That kind of environment breaks most players. Sanders kept advancing, kept delivering, and kept answering every doubt with tape. Troy Aikman never viewed that scrutiny as a burden. The pressure was framed as preparation for something greater. The Sanders name guaranteed constant evaluation, and that reality built endurance instead of fear. Aikman emphasized that constant attention creates rare polish, shaping players who are comfortable when the lights are brightest. Following Sanders since Jackson State, Aikman described a long-term story still unfolding, one defined by growth, patience, and elite-level resolve. Those comments were not hype. They were validation from a quarterback who understands what sustained greatness actually requires. The resume backs it up. Over 14,000 passing yards and 134 touchdowns are not inflated numbers. They are receipts produced under non-stop scrutiny. The production proves survival inside chaos and excellence inside pressure. That same resilience carried success from Jackson State to Colorado and now fuels the next chapter. Aikman believes that pattern continues at the professional level, where adversity is currency and patience often separates starters from stars. Cleveland, however, is not operating in fairy tale mode. The Browns are chasing stability and wins. For the 2025 season, head coach Kevin Stefanski named Joe Flacco as QB1. The decision detonated debate instantly. Fans questioned direction. Analysts challenged logic. Whispers spread that the so-called quarterback competition never truly existed. A veteran nearing 40 leading over a highly touted prospect raised eyebrows across the league. Despite the noise, Aikman publicly supported the decision. The logic centered on development, not delay. Sitting behind a seasoned veteran offers exposure to professional habits, preparation routines, and weekly discipline. Aikman noted that this apprenticeship model was not something every young quarterback receives, and it can accelerate long-term success. For Sanders, learning behind Flacco provides structure, film room mastery, and time to refine without being rushed. The presence of his father, Deion Sanders, never altered that assessment. The belief remained steady. Elite quarterbacks are forged through patience, coaching, and pressure management, not instant elevation. Cleveland's approach may appear conservative, but the foundation being built could define the next decade if executed correctly. Pressure forged poise, resilience, leadership, patience, discipline, vision, toughness, confidence. This perspective lands differently because it comes from lived experience, not theory. Troy Aikman understands exactly what early NFL pressure can do to a young quarterback. Drafted first overall by the Dallas Cowboys in 1989, there was no easing into the league. Week 1 starter, 11 straight losses, 0 wins, a brutal introduction that forced rapid growth through failure, physical punishment, and relentless scrutiny. Those early scars shaped one of the greatest careers the position has ever seen. That history is why Aikman's words about patience carry real weight. Watching before leading is not weakness, it is protection, strategy, and long-term vision executed properly. From that lens, learning behind Joe Flacco is not a setback, it is insulation from chaos. In a league that regularly throws rookies into unstable situations and then blames them for predictable struggles, this kind of buffer is rare. Aikman sees value in observation, routine, film habits, and preparation without immediate consequence. That environment allows refinement without damage. It allows confidence to grow quietly instead of being crushed publicly. Still, context matters. This is Cleveland, and quarterback stability has been elusive for years. Kevin Stefanski owns accolades, including multiple Coach of the Year awards, and is praised for offensive structure. Yet quarterback management remains the most debated part of his tenure. The Deshaun Watson move fractured opinion across the league. The constant turnover since then created uncertainty for players and fans alike. Every quarterback decision now feels like a referendum on Stefanski's future. That reality makes patience harder to sell, especially to a fan base starved for clarity. Even so, Aikman is not rushing to criticize. He believes Stefanski could be the right coach to stabilize development. Structure, discipline, and spacing matter. For a quarterback with long-term upside, that framework can be invaluable. Betting on patience in Cleveland feels risky, but Aikman believes this situation might finally be different. What separates Shedeur Sanders from typical rookies is the absence of anonymity. Development has never happened quietly. From the start, the spotlight followed relentlessly. Carrying the Sanders name means comparisons never stop. The legacy of Deion Sanders brings expectation, attention, and pressure that most players never experience. Every throw becomes a headline. Every pause becomes speculation. That burden is real, and it is heavy. Yet the response has never been collapse. From Jackson State through Colorado, pressure was met with production. Scrutiny was answered with composure. Criticism was countered by consistency. That pattern defines pedigree, not hype. Now, with Flacco holding the starting role entering 2025, Sanders waits. Not erased, not dismissed, simply positioned. Fans are not questioning if an opportunity arrives. The question is timing. Through Aikman's lens, this quiet stretch is not punishment, it is preparation. Unlike being thrown into the fire unprotected, this path allows study, absorption, and controlled growth. Aikman calls it patience with purpose. In a league addicted to urgency, that mindset is rare. The message is simple and deliberate. Let development happen correctly. Let confidence harden. Let readiness replace rush. Because when the moment arrives, preparation decides everything, always. Behind the scenes, Shedeur Sanders continues refining every detail of his craft, sharpening timing, progressing through reads, and developing leadership habits designed to translate at the highest level. The work is quiet, methodical, and intentional, building toward a version prepared to explode the moment opportunity arrives. Troy Aikman delivers a verdict that feels less like commentary and more like foresight. The voices labeling Sanders a fifth-round bench option fail to see what Aikman recognizes clearly: the structure, mindset, and ceiling of a franchise quarterback forming in real time. This belief is rooted in history. Sanders has faced chaos at every stage and emerged stronger each time. From the rebirth of Jackson State to the prime-time resurgence at Colorado, through the shock and disappointment of draft night, every chapter added pressure instead of comfort. According to Aikman, that pressure becomes fuel, not friction. When the story is finally told years from now, it will not focus on where Sanders was drafted, but on how he endured, adjusted, and elevated through relentless scrutiny. That statement carries weight because it comes from experience, not speculation. The league does not hand out fairy tales. It demands proof, patience, and survival through doubt. Sanders has been judged before taking a single meaningful NFL snap. Every throw in practice is dissected. Every sideline clip magnified, every rumor treated like a verdict. Yet what stands out is composure. What appears to be waiting is actually transformation. Cleveland's instability is nothing new, but Sanders approaches it differently. The goal is not replacing predecessors, but building a lane defined by calm command and calculated confidence. The spotlight arrived because of legacy, but the work ethic keeps it burning.